did refer to the eternal length of elementary school and high school being like you turn around and here you are. And so we turned around and here we are. It's amazing, and you still have some time to go, but you're starting a new journey. I'm Sari Bacon. For those of you who may not know who I am, I'm associate principal in the school, and I'm fortunate enough to work with the College Guidance Department. You who are here are really showing a tremendous commitment to your education for every step of the way. This is a commitment on the part of the parents, and it's on the part of the students, and by doing this, you show us, and yourselves especially, how important each step of your education is. Right now, you are going to be going through another process of what are we going to be doing next. And I know that some of you are new to the process, and some of you are veterans. You have students in college and beyond already. And as I'm sure you know, each child, each student is an individual. Each one of you has your own journey. And sometimes there are things that have changed from a couple of years ago. And in fact, as you've seen in the news, college admissions is constantly evolving and changing, and we just all need to find our place and move forward with what we need to do. I want to share with you that you are fortunate to have an amazing group of people in the Yeshiva Flatbush College Guidance Department. They are knowledgeable and they stay ahead of the curve. They always look to see what they could do to help their students. They are on a path of continuous improvement, which is what we all want from everybody. We want from you, we all always want this from ourselves. They really care a bit about each and every student, each of you, each of the parents, and work closely with all of you and families together to help you make the best decisions and find the place that is just the right fit for you. So it's really a wonderful thing that you have them, and I know that you're going to be using them as a resource. I also want to remind you, College Guidance does send out emails and announcements. They don't send out a lot. They think a lot before they send something out. So please be on the lookout for them. There are going to be important dates and deadlines that they would like you to be sure to note and to follow, and again, something that they are sure to help you with. I want to, at this time, we have some other people to thank, but I want to just tell everybody thank you to the Ladies Auxiliary, as usual, for helping us with the collation downstairs, and for the refreshments that you'll have a little bit later. Right now, I want to introduce to you our interim director of College Guidance. I know many of you, or some of you, are familiar with our director, Michelle Billy-Levy. She's on maternity leave. She had a baby girl a month ago, but we are all in the very extremely capable hands of Ms. Rachel Natab, the interim director of the College Guidance Department. Thank you.
Hi, I want to welcome everyone. Thank you so much for coming tonight to this valuable program. Most of us understand the importance of going to college in this economy and how a college degree can significantly impact your earning potential. But college is much more than that. I was recently visiting a college campus, and while there I happened to overhear some undergraduates talking about Andrew Jackson's legacy, a topic that had come up in their history class recently. Witnessing these young adults respectfully communicate their ideas and perspectives struck me. This is the essence of college, a chance to engage with material in a new way while interacting with professors and peers who are committed to the free exchange of ideas. What could be more important for our students as they become adults? College Guidance is invested in the success of each and every student. We take an individualized approach where we get to know every student and create a safe atmosphere where we could best guide and advise our students. We are also committed to keeping up with the trends of this ever-changing and dynamic field. We continually attend conferences, visit college campuses, and meet with other Jewish schools to stay informed and up to date on the latest information. Tonight is about connecting with admissions representatives and learning as much as possible about their respective schools. It's a unique opportunity to have admissions counselors from over 30 different colleges at Flatbush tonight. Tonight's program will start with a panel that will run for about 30 minutes, where we hope to address important admissions and college-related questions. It should provide you with an overview of what colleges are looking for, so students will be well equipped when it comes time to apply and write college essays next year. After the panel, you'll have the chance to meet with admissions counselors in the gym, so circulate and speak to as many colleges as possible to gain insights and information. This is a rare opportunity to ask questions and make a personal connection. So let's jump right into the panel. But first, maybe we should just go down the line and you could quickly introduce yourself, your name, and what college you're from.
Assalamu alaikum, Syracuse University.
I can just yell. Oh, they're not. Hi, Paul Havern from the Cooper Union.
Hi everyone, my name is Molly Coyne. I'm here from Columbia University.
Hi, I'm Rachel Chandela, representing Yeshiva University's 3 undergraduate programs, Yeshiva College for Men, Stern College for Women, and Sison School of Business, which we have on both campuses.
Great. So the first question is directed towards Syracuse, Macaulay, and Cooper. Among the many variables in the application, which do you see as carrying the greatest weight?
Can you hear me? Great. Great way to start. Okay, so what we consider to be the most important aspect of the application is certainly the high school transcript. That is our number one consideration. We're very interested in seeing the types of courses that you've taken, how challenging have the courses been, what is the progression over the 3-year or 3.5-year period. So that is probably our number one aspect that we're looking at. I'm sure many of you have heard this. There's a question of, is it better to take a regular class and get an A or take an AP class and get a B? Does anybody know the answers to that? AP class and get an A. Yeah, that's what we do.
Okay, so I'm sure that many of you are aware of Cooper's programs, but for those of you who are not, Cooper has 3 schools. We have a School of Art, School of Engineering, and a School of Architecture. And all 3 of our programs have very, very different requirements. But briefly, our School of Art, they focus most closely on what they call the home test, which is 8 questions that you answer over the course of a month, and you answer the questions by actually making pieces of art. So between the portfolio and the home test, the School of Art is most focused on that. Architecture has something similar, but they don't have a portfolio requirement, and so they focus most closely on that home test. And engineering, I know that you're going to get sick of hearing this throughout the process, but it's a very holistic approach that we have. Most importantly, of course, you have to have a certain level of grades to be a competitive applicant. But we are actually looking for students who are very good communicators. We force our students to work together in almost all of the classes and throughout the entire time you are in our School of Engineering, with the idea that no matter what job you end up with, you will be working with others. So it only makes sense to teach you while working with others. So it's sort of about being a collaborative, communicative student that also has very high grades.
So I agree with everything that they said. I just want to point out that many universities, many colleges
do use a very holistic approach. While the transcript is a driving force in the review process, your essays, your letters of recommendations, your extracurricular activities, they all tell us a story, and that all plays a huge role in making our decision to admit, waitlist, or deny.
What advice would you give to students as they write their essay? And this question is for YU and Syracuse.
My personal advice is make sure that you write it, not your parents write it, because we read thousands of applications and we can tell the voice of a 50-year-old lawyer versus a 17-year-old student. Make it personal, sincere. I always like to tell students, let's say you wrote an essay and your name was not on the essay. You drop it in the middle of the hallway and the teacher picks it up. If they read the essay, would they be able to know that this essay belongs to you? And if that is a yes, then you've probably done a really good job with your essay. Don't get caught up on reading these College Confidential and all these forums and other students telling you what type of topics you should be taking. It should be a topic, and your style of writing should be relevant to you. If you're not a very funny person, your college essay is probably not the place to start. Just be sincere to yourself and have your personality come through. This is the one thing that you have major control over in the application process, so it's really important to spend a lot of time on it.
That was extremely comprehensive. I will add that while it's important to write your own essay, it's important to have somebody read over your essay. It does not hurt to have a second, third, or even fourth pair of eyes read it over to catch even that one comma, because the chances are, even though we're reading a lot of essays, we're looking at those commas and we're looking to see if you put a lot of time and effort into writing it and having somebody go over it as well. And just to reiterate, I can confuse your 1600 on the SAT with anybody else's 1600 on the SAT. I should not be able to confuse your essay with anybody else's, so it's a really great chance for you to make yourself stand out and make yourself really memorable.
There's been a lot of press about colleges trying to discern students' level of interest. Is demonstrated interest a variable in your admissions process? And if so, what are the things that indicate interest? This is for Cooper and Columbia.
So at Columbia, we don't formally track demonstrated interest in sort of the most traditional sense. So there are some schools now that will track really every bit of communication or contact that you have with the school. So they want to know when they review your application, did you visit campus, or did you meet with a representative here tonight, for example, or at another high school visit, or essentially what kind of, again, contact or communication you've had with the institution. At Columbia, when I read your application, I don't have a list of every different point of contact that you've had with me. So for example, tonight at the college fair, you may notice that I won't have any cards for you to fill out. I'm not going to track who spoke with me tonight. But when we review your application, we do ask you why you want to come to Columbia, and more specifically, what you value about our community, why you really see yourself there. And so in sort of an informal way, we are looking for you to demonstrate your interest, for you to effectively articulate why you belong at Columbia. And a lot of that comes from having done that demonstrated interest, having been to campus and gotten to know our community, so that you can really tell us why you want to be there. But we don't kind of traditionally track, but there are ways that we are trying to figure out, do you really want to be here? Do you know what we're all about? And are you a good fit for us?
So at Cooper, we do not traditionally track demonstrated interest, but we do explore it in a few ways. Most commonly, if you have not written that perfect essay, as we just talked about, and maybe we are concerned, maybe you don't sound like you are particularly interested in Cooper, we might explore it. We have a few options. We can see if you came on a tour, if you signed up for a tour, and if you visited. It doesn't look great if you live in Brooklyn and you didn't come visit. We have lots of tours pretty much every week, almost every day. So it doesn't look great. So we can see if you did that. We can see if you signed up for our mailing list. That's a really helpful way to stay in contact, and we only send you very specific information about the programs you said you were interested in. So don't worry, we don't over-email you. And so we don't traditionally look into it, but in the event that we feel a student might not be interested, if we're trying to weigh who to take off of the wait list, then it can become very important. So It also can help if you are in contact with one of us, if we can name you by name by the time we're reading your application. Believe it or not, that actually is very helpful.
Thank you. How important is it for a student to visit your campus in order to make an informed decision about which college to attend? This one's for YU and Columbia. So how important is the visit for the student?
I think visiting is very important if you're able to do so. And so for most of us that are up here on this panel, none of us are too far away, so it would be great for you to be able to visit. Obviously, if you're looking at schools a little bit further away, most schools recognize that you may or may not be able to visit. But if you're able to, I would really recommend going. We're not too far away, and I think, at least from my perspective, before I had ever visited Columbia, I don't know that I would have believed or really understood that a place like Columbia exists, that it's in Manhattan, but in so many ways feels like a traditional college campus, and there actually is some green space, and it looks very much like a traditional college, but it's also steps from the 1 train. So I do think it feels different, and it's a very different experience to actually go visit this campus that maybe it feels like you know about because you're not too far away, having grown up in the same city, but that can in many ways be worlds apart and feel very different when you're actually there. So I would highly recommend visiting any school that you're interested in before you commit to it, if you're able to.
I completely agree. I think that by going to a yeshiva high school, Yeshiva University becomes a household name, and everybody thinks they understand exactly what it is, and that's great that it becomes a household name, but I also think that you have to see it for yourself to find out if it's a good fit for you. I think that you've heard from people, or you know from other people, or you participated in Sarachek or Model UN or whatever it is. Come see it for yourself. Come see what kind of students we attract. Come see what kind of classes we have. Come see what's different about it from Yeshiva Flatbush and what's the same and what you like about that and what you don't. I think it's important to see if you can picture yourself eating in the cafeteria, spending Shabbat on campus. All those things are incredibly important. Also, we all get paid to talk about how great our universities are. We have a lot of students on our campus paying money to talk about how great our campuses are. So if you're not going to take our word for it, come talk to the students. Get their perspective on what it's like to be a student at these universities.
What advice do you have regarding which teachers to ask for letters of recommendation? From classes you've done the best in, from which years of high school, what type of teachers do you recommend? And this question is from Macaulay and Cooper.
How did I know, and how did you know? Well, I just have to mention something since I wasn't asked to respond to the previous question, but I would like to invite all of you to our open house, which will be held on June 18th, which just happens to be Father's Day, so your whole family is invited. As you all know, Macaulay is available at 8 of the CUNY campuses, and that includes Baruch, Brooklyn City, Queens, Hunter, Lehman, Staten Island, and John Jay. We will be holding this open house for all 8 campuses, but it'll be held at John Jay. I do have invitations downstairs, so that's my invitation to you. Getting back to the question, which was?
Letters of recommendation.
Thank you.
Teachers.
Okay. Somehow the evening didn't start off right. In any case, with the water and the placard. But in any case, recommendations. We have our honors director at Lehman College, and he always says, ask for recommendations from people who love you, who are not your parents. So I think it has to be someone that knows you well. We ask for 2 letters of recommendation. I always say, why don't we try to get 3? We don't need 10. We ask for 3 so that if one person wins a trip around the world, you still have your 2. It should be someone, I would say probably be great to have 2 teachers and someone in the guidance department, and someone who knows you well and can really speak to your performance in class, but not only how well you do on the test, but something unique about you that has occurred during the class, perhaps a reading, perhaps you're helping other students, perhaps there was one particular unit that you thought was very exciting and you excelled in that area. And then, of course, your guidance counselors have a comprehensive view of you, and they will also be talking about the appropriate fit, which I think was mentioned before. And that's something that you may be thinking about. Is this really the college I'd like to attend? Do I want this type of institution, and do I want this type of education? So someone, again, in summary, someone who knows you well and who can give us a different perspective. Because when we're looking at your application, obviously we see your transcript, and I mentioned that earlier, and we see your SAT scores, we see your essay, and this, of course, is another perspective on who you are and how you fit in at our colleges.
I don't like to repeat the other panelists, but this is an important one. definitely a teacher who likes you. If they don't like you, the letter might not be very enthusiastic. And there's nothing more disheartening than reading an application that has a very lukewarm letter of recommendation. I'm not saying that it would be bad, but it just doesn't necessarily help if they don't have anything particularly specific to say about you. As in regards to the years and what teacher to pick, first of all, it is better, at least in Cooper's opinion, to get a teacher from your sophomore or junior year. Somebody who is probably able to talk about a class or a specific course that's a little more substantive than something you took your first year. That's always very helpful. For Cooper, and again, this is Cooper advice, not every school, but since you're applying to a specific program at Cooper, it's very helpful for us to actually read, if you're applying to the School of Engineering, your chemistry or your physics teacher, what they had to say about your performance in class. For art, of course, an art teacher. So it just, again, look into the schools, and it doesn't hurt to take a peek at their websites now in advance. Don't go crazy about it, but it doesn't hurt to take a peek. But for Cooper, definitely specific and hopefully very insightful letters of rec.
Okay, great. When you look at a student's resume or list of activities, what are you looking for? What do you find substantive in terms of activities and extracurriculars? This question is for Macaulay and Syracuse.
The best way to think about it is quality over quantity. We're not going to count all the different activities you have on the Common App, but it's more important to show your level of commitment, passion, growth in leadership skills, and even if it's maybe 5 activities that you've dedicated yourself to in the course of 3 years, and you've grown in all of those activities, that will speak volumes versus joining 10 activities your senior year or junior year. So it's really about the level of commitment, and then depending on the major that you're interested in, we like to see some sort of connection. If you're thinking about communication or media, then maybe trying to be part of a student organization in school that's related to that does play a positive role in your group.
Thank you very much. Just going to move this bottle up here. Thank you very much for that very comprehensive response. I would agree with everything. I would just like to add that the mission of Macaulay is to produce leaders who will solve the challenges of the city and the nation and the world. A very small little mission that we hope to accomplish in 4 years if possible, maybe 3.5. In any case, so we're all looking for leadership potential. Sometimes that's hard to see on an activities resume. Our current application does not provide you with a lot of space to include all of your activities, so we do recommend that you submit an activities resume, but we are looking for leadership potential. And again, consistency, exactly as it just was mentioned. We prefer not to see someone who hasn't been participating for 9th and 10th grade and all of a sudden 11th grade has 12 different activities. So consistency and quality will be very important to us.
Great. Now, this is a question about senior year grades and how significant is the performance of senior year? Do you look at senior year grades and how does that factor in?
They're very important. Do well in your senior year. I know that it can feel easy to want to slow things down, take a little bit of a break, but we do see your senior year grades, and we will change decisions. Usually not after letters go out, but I can't tell you how sad it makes me, and obviously you would never know this, but when we're about to mail our decisions out for, say, early decisions, and all of a sudden we have to change a decision because we got first quarter grades and they're not so hot. And that does happen, and we do look at your grades pretty regularly throughout your senior year. So you want to make sure that, one, you're certainly still taking rigorous courses as you move into your senior year, but please don't think it's a time to relax. We really want to make sure that you're still doing well, because we will see those first quarter grades or first semester, depending on whether you're applying early or regular, and that really does play a pretty big role in the admissions process.
Thank you. What kind of career guidance or advising or resources are in place for your students at your college? What are the emerging trends among your graduating seniors in terms of going to graduate school or job placement? And this is for Macaulay and for YU.
So YU is, I always say that it's big enough yet small enough. It's big enough that we have all the resources, we have the Career Development Center, we have academic advisors who are there to help every single student from the minute they come on campus. But it's small enough that you're going to get the individualized attention. We actually have one of our associate deans of the business school, Dean Mike Strauss in the back here, who not only comes to college fairs after hours, but he wouldn't even be mad at me right now. In fact, he'd probably want me to give out his cell phone to every single student here, because he takes pre-work lunch and breakfast meetings with any student who calls him on his cell phone. And that's the type of individualized attention you're going to get, and using the relationships that you build with your professors and with the deans and with the Career Center, they are going to be able to connect you to internship opportunities, part-time job opportunities once you graduate. We did a recent survey of recent graduates, and 95% of our students reported either being in graduate school, employed, or both within 6 months of graduation.
So as you know, Macaulay Honors College offers a very personalized and customized experience. All of our students have an academic advisor. In addition to their academic advisor, they also have a major advisor. And we offer an additional layer of support. So let's say, for example, if a student is looking for a position, they could certainly speak to their advisor, to the Career Services Center at their college, as well as a meeting with our internship and career person at Macaulay itself. In terms of emergent trends, I don't really see a major difference. At this point in time, it appears that most of our students have a lot of interest in medicine and in law, and we've been very happy with the type of medical school acceptances that we're seeing. Now, I would like to mention that in addition to students pursuing degrees in law, or pre-law if you want, and pre-med, we certainly have our artists and our sociologists, and there are 475 different majors that you could actually choose from. But I think what's very important to remember about Macaulay is the extra layer of support that we provide for all of our students.
On the application, when a student indicates his or her anticipated major, how does that factor into your decision? So if a student lists liberal arts or undecided on the application, does that have an impact in terms of being admitted to the school? And this question is for Columbia and Syracuse.
So at Columbia, we do ask you to make a few choices when you're applying. You'll apply to either Columbia College, where you'll find all of our liberal arts programs, or Columbia Engineering and the School of Applied Sciences. So you are making sort of at least one big choice there in terms of where you're applying. And then we do also ask you to list 3 major choices. You can list undecided as one or all 3 of those choices, and regardless of what you put as those major choices, you don't actually declare your major until your sophomore year. So through the application process, our hope is to understand what you want to do, what you're planning on doing, what you like to do, but you are by no means locked into any of those choices once you actually get to Columbia. But a couple of other pieces to note specific to Columbia, we do ask you why you want to study, whatever it is that you've indicated on your application. So as part of our supplement, we have a specific sort of why major question. And you will have to respond to that even if you're undecided. And that doesn't mean that we don't have plenty of students starting undecided every fall, but it means that we want you to talk more broadly about your academic interests, or to help us understand why you're undecided and why you're drawn to so many different fields that you're not quite sure yet. So we will ask you to really expand upon your academic interests, but there is still a lot of flexibility once you arrive in terms of what you actually do and how that kind of narrows down.
So for Syracuse, when you select the university, we ask you to select the individual college that you are interested in. So you have a choice of 9. So if you're going to study business, you're going to apply to Whitman School of Management. And when we read the application for a business applicant, there are certain classes we're looking for. We want to look at their math classes. Pre-calculus is preferred. The majority of our admitted students come in with that by senior year. If you're applying to an arts program, it's not just going to be the academic piece we're going to look at. The faculty members also review your audition, or they look at your portfolio depending on the major that you're applying to. So it does play a critical role in our review process. We do have a ton of students that apply undecided. We're just really looking for an all-around student. We'll look at every aspect of the application. But Syracuse University does have supplemental essay questions that we ask students to respond to, and one question we ask is why SU? And we usually look to see the reason behind you choosing a specific major, so that's also plays a good role in our review.
Okay, so this is the final question. And the question is, once the application is submitted, would you like to hear from students? And if so, what is the best way for them to remain in contact with you?
So the reason I love my job so much, and I do love my job, is because I get to interact with students, and I really love getting to know the students. We require in-person interview as part of the application process, so tonight is only step 1, and that interview is step 2 or 3. After you submit an application, come visit, keep in touch with our office. On that note, I also want to, I love talking to parents, but parents, you don't want to be more memorable than your children. So if someone needs to advocate on behalf of your child, or somebody has a question about the application, have your child and children, you do it yourself. Reach out to our office, give us a call, because we want to remember you, we want to build that relationship with you, and it looks better in the long run if you're the one advocating yourself as an adult.
Okay, so again, back to what I talked about with the demonstrated interest. It's again informal at Cooper, but it does really help if you come visit, if you email me. I will have my business card at my table downstairs. But I can tell you this much, and I'll leave you with this. The first students off of the wait list were all students who either visited or came to speak with us in some way, whether it was in person or they called us or something, but they personalized it, and that's why they got off the wait list first.
Thank you so much. It's the end of the panel. So let's run a applause.